Jim Brown was, he's in another league.
I think of three numbers with Jim Brown. 104.3. That's the number of rushing yards per game that he gained over the course of his career. That's the highest in NFL history. I think of 5.2. That's the average yards per carry that Jim Brown had in his career. That is the highest in the history of the league. And I think of 0, the number of games that he missed. Brown led the league in rushing 8 times over a 9-year period. Nobody's ever led baseball 8 times in 9 years in home runs. An NHL player has never done that in terms of leading the league in goals scored. Nobody's led the NBA 8 times in 9 consecutive seasons in scoring.
You can't measure it on yards, but you got to measure it on impact. What you had to do when you faced him. This is one man, and you couldn't stop him.
He did things on a football field that I have never seen since. Did it continually. He'd go against the grain, against the Giants, and just cut across the field and shedding tacklers.
After the game in our locker room, Weep says, they think Jim Brown is so good. If they'd have took that 60-yard run away from him, if they'd have took that 32-yard run away from him, if they'd have took that 18-yard run away from him, he wouldn't have done anything. God, that's the trouble with a guy like Jim Brown. He always gets those 60-yard runs or those 30-yard runs or those 20. That's what makes Jim Brown what he is.
Jim Brown, the greatest running back that has ever breathed.
I've always felt that Jim Brown's the only guy I've ever known who at 50 years old, I would have bet he could have gained 1,000 yards in the NFL at 50.
I was so happy when he retired, he ain't getting no grace from me.
I played 9 years, and I left at the age of 29 years old, and I was MVP of the league. And that's what I wanted to do.
Never saw anyone with a bigger ego that could back it up, who wasn't a braggart. He was a good team player.
He instilled that kind of a competitiveness, confidence in us, and in the huddle on game day, you know. Boy, you'd hear him say it over and over and over. This is our play. This is what we wanted. You know, we called for it. Let's go get it. You know, that kind of thing. And always upbeat, but always pushing.
Until you lined up next to this guy and watched him time after time in very tough, crucial situations make it come out all right for the Cleveland Browns, you can't fully respect how good he was. If we had the capabilities today to show him from 15 different angles, people would say that was not a human.
Yeah, he was a freak. At the time, I mean, everybody was in awe of what you were seeing. He was like a before his time kind of player.
Yes, he is the ball player of the millennium.